Happy New Year, San Run Travel Travelers. And this is Steve, and
Happy New Year.
that's Reg. And we're glad to be starting 2022. And we certainly hope 2022 is a little bit easier to navigate than 2021, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I just got back from a very interesting overseas trip to the Bahamas. And you'll notice there's a little shading on our studio today. Not sure how to get the lighting changed around, so we're just going to go with it the way it is. Um, we'll talk a little bit about traveling, non-cruising traveling with COVID after a little bit. But first thing we want to say is we are excited to be in 2022. We are still operating. Grateful to all the folks that traveled with us in 2021. And we certainly hope that we can generate some enthusiasm and some interesting locations for y'all in 2022. As has been our practice over the last almost year, I think, um, the cruising industry is still dealing with COVID. Um, the new Omicron variation has really caused it some interesting problems. In case you haven't heard, Royal Caribbean is not accepting new reservations for January. They are planning on cruising, but uh, they don't want to build up the number of folks traveling on a given cruise line or on a cruise ship. More and more ports are denying entry, and you're getting extra sea days, which doesn't always bother me. But I'm sure it bothers an awful lot of folks who paid for that kind of a vacation. So there are things that the cruise line is dealing with on rapid changes. And you almost have to just watch it a week or so before you leave to have an idea of what's going on. I will say this. Reg and I have been telling you for a year, if you aren't vaccinated and in fact maybe even boosted, you will likely not be cruising. Um, that's just a fact of life, guys. It may change towards the end of the year, but I'm not real sure where we're going to go with it. Have you read anything differently to that, Reg?
Right now, I have not seen anything that says anything other than you're going to need to have the vaccination and be able to show proof of that. You're also going to need to be boosted. And right now, the cruise ships are also requiring that masks are worn anytime you're inside and even in crowded spaces outside on the outer decks.
Wow. Yeah. So we're still going out, and our February cruise is still on. We've got a group of 8 cabins going out of LA. I would probably suggest that cruise is closed. We will report back, obviously, if we get to go. We're still planning on it. So, be that as it may, we're going to move on to some other things here that might relate to COVID as well as we get down to it. Reg has a couple of questions. The first one that I'm going to let him deal with is what is a bucket list trip, and how does San Run Travel deal with trying to do bucket lists?
Well, San Run Travel started off as a casino bus tour company. And over the years, we've had to make some changes as casinos became more prevalent in various areas. People didn't need to get on the bus to get their casino fix. They can get in their car and drive a half hour, and they were at a casino on their own. So we started looking at changing ours to more destination type trips. And as we started to look at the destinations, we also started to look at what are some of those bucket list trips? What are some of those trips that you've been sitting down watching a movie and said, wow, I'd really like to go there? or someone you've talked to said, hey, I just got back from such and such. And you said, wow, I really like to take that trip. It's someplace I've always wanted to go. And so those bucket list trips, those things that have been on your list since you were a little kid and when you first started thinking about travel, those are the things that we call a bucket list trip. And we're getting into a bucket list trips this year for 2022. Our biggest bucket list trip would be our Mediterranean cruise coming up in September. It's one of those where a lot of people have said, wow, I'd really love to cruise around the Mediterranean. I'd really like to get to Rome. I'd really like to get to Spain and see what Barcelona looks like. And we have that opportunity for you. If you're interested, all you'd have to do is get in touch with us. Come on and we'll get the information to you that you need and let you come join us. And let this be the beginning of your first bucket list trip, and then we can see we can put another one together for you in the coming years.
That's a great point. Yeah, we've started doing a lot more than that along those lines. A couple of years ago, we went out to the Grand Canyon, stayed in Sedona, and we are a little bit more focused into trying to do that. Fortunately for us, the cruise industry is kind of along those lines as well with some of the locations.
Yeah, well, we've done a cruise to Hawaii, which is one of those bucket list places. We've did a cruise to Alaska, another one of those bucket list places. So we've been doing it all along, but we're really trying to expand that out and add some new places in. And if you have a suggestion for us, contact us, let us know, and we can at least look into it and see if there's a possibility of something that San Run can put together and make that bucket list trip happen for you.
Yeah, that's the truth. Yeah, get a hold of us, send us an email, get posted on our Facebook page. We'll see what we can look up. Now, the second question Reg had that I probably will speak to a little bit because of the personal experience I just went through, how to travel during COVID. And this past week, um, I have been down in Paradise Island in the Bahamas, and we had to use all the COVID restrictions, all the COVID testing. We did have, unfortunately, someone in our party contract COVID. They are still at Paradise Island. So I can think of a few worse places to be quarantined. We hope they get back here very shortly, but it is a bit on the stressful side. You do have to pay attention to the regulations. That's probably the big thing we noticed. In the Bahamas, there was certain testing that we had to do before we were allowed to come into the country. There was a visa, which made us feel a little bit better. And thank gosh everyone got it because their visa, for the most part, takes care of the entire quarantine stay if you test positive while you're there. Now, the restriction right now is that you need to have a negative test. One, to stay in country longer than 7 days, you have to have a negative test at 5 days. But more importantly, to come back to the United States, you must have a negative rapid test a day before. It was 2 days before. It's now 1 day before. So you got to stay on top of it. Now, most resorts, whether they're the Bahamas, Mexico, whatever country you seem to be going to, most resort towns, most resort establishments are offering the rapid antigen test free of charge when you need it. Now, if you're staying in a condo or a private home, you would have to arrange for that. But in order to travel back to the United States, you've got to pay attention to having that test done. While you're traveling in the States, the basic premise is that you will have your mask on and you're going to wear it in all public places. I haven't yet found a location that's testing or requires testing while you're there. There are a number of locations that are now requesting vaccination records. And so I know to get in the Bahamas, we had to prove that we were fully vaccinated, not just one shot. So it really requires paying attention to the details of whatever location you're going to. And they're all posted, they're all available. If you're using a travel agent, that travel agent will help you. If not, you can use the internet, will generally guide you through just about anything. It's not, I'm not going to say it's not fun, but it requires some effort to make sure that you're going to follow all the protocols and not get yourself in a little bit of trouble right now. Again, traveling in the States, wear your mask and you should be fine. Air travel, everybody, we had no problems with the air travel, other than don't particularly care for the Orlando airport to spend 3 to 5 hours in. But wear your mask and things go just fine. You just don't have a problem. We had no issues on the planes. We had nobody fighting on the planes. So we were fine. So
and that in this time of COVID right now, that seems to be the thing that's the key, is that you're aware of what's expected of you, that you do the things that they expect, and if you do that, everyone can move around a little more safe. It's when people ignore the rules or want to go against what's being suggested that things tend to get out of hand, and then the problems seem to be arising.
And like I said, we had a party of 11, 12 going, and we really didn't have any problems as long as we all, abided by the regulations of the U.S. and in our case, the Bahamas. So just pay attention and plan your life. Don't back away from your life. We're not going to let this thing beat us, but we have to learn how to live with it. So if that's anything I can give you on travel, that's it. Now, Reg talked about bucket list trips. So what we're going to do this year on our shows, we're going to try to focus on the things we're going to be going to this year. And the first out of the gate is going to be Barcelona. So I have a little video clip here, give you some ideas of what we might be seeing when we spend a day or so in Barcelona prior to our cruise. Here we go.
In this video, we'll show you 10 best things to see in Barcelona and a couple more suggestions at the end of the video. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. The suggestions are based on our amazing trip to Barcelona. Here are our top 10 picks. Number 1. Citadel Park. Citadel Park was created in the 19th century and it's considered the greenest oasis in Barcelona. This historical garden stretches across 280,000 square meters and it includes the city zoo, the Catalan parliament, a small lake, a large fountain, and museums. Don't miss also the Arc de Triomphe, which is very close to the park and was built as the main access gate for the 1888 Barcelona World Fair. Number 2. La Barceloneta. La Barceloneta is a neighborhood in the old city of Barcelona. It is now most famous for its sandy beach and numerous restaurants and nightclubs along the boardwalk. Barcelona has some great sand beaches but can get very crowded in the summertime. It's also home to Barcelona's most iconic luxury 5-star W hotel that mimics the shape of the sail. Number 3. Parc Güell. The Parc Güell is a public park full of gardens and architectonic elements located on Carmel Hill. With urbanization in mind, Eusebi Güell assigned the design of the park to Spanish architect Antoni Gaudí. The park was built between 1900 and 1914 and was officially opened as a public park 12 years later. In 1984, UNESCO declared the park a World Heritage Site under Works of Antoni Gaudí. Part of the park is free, but if you want to sit on the long, curved mosaic bench in the form of a sea serpent or see the famous lucky lizard, you need to pay a small fee. Number 4. Sagrada Familia. Sagrada Familia is a large, unfinished Roman Catholic church. The construction of Sagrada Familia started in 1882 under architect Francisco de Paula de Villar. 1 year later, Villar resigned and Gaudí took over as chief architect, combining Gothic and curvilinear Art Nouveau forms. The church is not yet completed and it's planned to be finished by 2026. Together with 6 other Gaudí buildings in Barcelona, part of La Sagrada Familia is a UNESCO World Heritage Site as well. Be prepared to wait in a long line outside Sagrada Familia if you want to see inside. You can skip the line by getting the tickets online. Number 5. Gothic Quarter. Gothic Quarter is the center of the old city of Barcelona. The quarter covers the oldest parts of the city and includes the remains of the city's Roman wall and several notable medieval landmarks. It consists of a labyrinth street plan with numerous small streets opening out into squares. Despite its name, several landmark Gothic buildings in the neighborhood do not date back to the Middle Ages, but to the late 19th and early 20th century. Number 6. La Rambla. La Rambla is a 1.2 kilometer long crowded street in central Barcelona. It was originally a sewage-filled stream bed, usually dry, but an important drain for the heavy rainwater flowing from the hills during spring and autumn. With thousands of tourists wandering around and soaking up the atmosphere, La Rambla is one of Barcelona's main attractions. However, the boulevard is also infamous for thieves and scammers. In fact, Barcelona is usually called pickpocket capital of the world. Number 7. La Boqueria Market. La Boqueria is a large public market in the old city district of Barcelona and one of the city's main tourist landmarks with an entrance from La Rambla. The first mention of the Boqueria Market in Barcelona dates to year 1217. The current name is believed to derive from the Catalan word boc, meaning goat. Therefore, a boqueria would be a place where goat meat is sold. Try some fresh fruits or any other authentic treat from the market. Number 8. Catalonia Square. Catalonia Square is a large square in central Barcelona that is generally considered to be both the city center and the place where the old city and the 19th century built Eixample meet. Some of the city's most important streets and avenues meet at the Catalonia Square. It is especially known for its fountains and statues, its proximity to some of Barcelona's most popular attractions, and the flock of pigeons that gather in the center. Number 9. The Magic Fountain. The fountain is situated below the Palau Nacional on the Montjuic mountain and near the Plaza de España. The fountain, like most of the surrounding developments, was constructed for the 1929 Barcelona International Exposition. The first show took place on May 19 the same year, the day before the start of the exposition. The fountain was badly damaged in the Spanish Civil War and did not operate until 1955. In the 1980s, music was incorporated with the light show and the fountain, along with the Museo Nacional, was completely restored prior to the 1992 Summer Olympics, held at the Montjuic. Check the description for the link to timetable of the fountain light show. Number 10. Museums and exhibitions. In Barcelona, there are numerous remarkable museums and exhibitions. We visited the CCCB, where we experienced an exhibition called After the End of the World. It is an art installation that is, amongst other things, demonstrating our society's responsibility to the generations who will be born and growing up in the 21st century. Unforgettable experience. Of course, there are plenty other sights to see and things to do in Barcelona. For example, Casa Milà, that was also designed by Gaudí. Montjuic Castle with an amazing view towards the city. The largest football stadium in Europe and the second biggest in the world. Camp Nou, Tibidabo, a mountain overlooking Barcelona featuring a church and an amusement park. The Columbus Monument, built in 1888 World Exposition, honoring Christopher Columbus's first voyage to the Americas, and many more. We created a Google map with all the suggestions. The link is in the description below. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
How about that? That's a great city to jump off from. We're going to be spending some time there. I've already got the tours planned, the hotel planned, and it looks to me right now, when we finish putting the whole thing together and get it on the website, you ought to be able to do the entire deal, including air and cruise, for right around $3,000 a person. So you talk about a huge bucket list that's reasonable, that ought to be it. So hopefully we get a bunch of you to join us in September.
Yeah, we're so looking forward to Barcelona. It should be a lot of fun getting over there and hanging out and seeing some of the old architecture and everything.
Isn't that the truth? We wanted to advise all of you who do watch our show, we're going to be changing and having a little advertisement campaign we're going to be starting this year. And what we're going to change is we're going to focus a little bit on the three things we find our travelers really drawn to with our tours: adventure, romance, and food and wine. And as we focus on them, we will remind you we will not depart from our baseline of the casinos. But in reality, when you go to the casinos and you use them the way San Run Travel does, the ancillary adventures and romance and things we can do beyond just gambling are the things that people seem to really enjoy about our tours.
Absolutely. Gambling is fun, but it's not the only thing to do when you're on a San Run Travel tour.
And we've learned that over the 20 years we've been in business. Can you believe it, guys?
20 years. Wow.
20 years we've been doing this. I can hardly believe we've been at it that long. But anyway, now it's time for our monthly drawing. Reg told me we had 278 views last month. So we are really starting to cook a little bit. So I said, Reg, look up number 153. Who can we give a $25 gift certificate to?
And our $25 gift certificate this month goes to Amy Williams Steele.
Amy Williams Steele, if you pick up and look at our show this next month and send Reggie a text, an email, a notice on Facebook, what your address is, we will make sure we get a $25 San Run Travel gift certificate out to you. And hopefully you're ready to travel and go with us and enjoy some of the adventures that we're going to provide for 2022.
And maybe one of those bucket list trips that we put together is one of Amy's bucket list trips.
Let's hope so. Well, guys, that's it for January. We'll be back in February and see what COVID brings us then. But until then, happy travels and happy New Year and all our wishes for a profitable and healthy 2022.
Have a happy and safe New Year.
Bye-bye now.